Good afternoon and welcome to More Tea Minister. My name is Ian. Today we are looking at our second tea from India, this time something that is marketed as an oolong. I say that not to cast aspersions on how teas are labelled, but rather because when we looked at the last Indian tea, Jethikupi First Pick, a first flush Darjeeling, the degree of oxidation in these Darjeeling first flushes is such that it's not easy to tell them apart from a lightly oxidized oolong. And so this time it's very interesting to try one, and it's the first time trying it for me to try one that is expressly marketed as an oolong. So we are going to be looking at another tea from the Rohini tea estate, or the Gopaldara tea estate company, and it's the honey oolong spring, based unsurprisingly on the first flush. Now, I won't say much more about Darjeeling tea or the Rohini tea estate. If you want to know more, look at our Jethikupi First Pick video. I will give you some of the details about this tea though, because the Gopaldara tea estate website is admirably informative. So this tea in particular, and I'm looking at my notes again, first flush oolong, it's using the AV2 clone, that's a cultivar of tea. The tea was picked in March of 2025. It's a high grade picking, completely whole leaf. It's FTG FOP1, and you can look that up later. And the tea plantations that have been plucked for this tea range from somewhere between 1,500 to 3,000 feet. So not terribly high, but compared to where I live, pretty high. And the last time we did a Rohini Darjeeling, what we did was we had two separate videos, one for the Western style of brewing and the other for Eastern. And I thought what we would do today is follow our more recent practice of piling all of that into one video. So we have, to help us with that, our tea leaves here, and I'm going to bring those to the camera. Hopefully there's enough light that you can, oh, that's pretty good. You can see there's quite a variety of colours there, ranging from dark green to light green, and there's some more oxidized bits and pieces. It's more obvious when the tea's unfurled. I've got a pot of the tea already brewed according to the manufacturer's instructions there, a pretty standard 1 gram to 100 mils, 85 degrees centigrade for 3 to 4 minutes. I've gone for 4 minutes. And for brewing in Gongfu style, we're going to go with 5 grams to 100 mils of water in our gaiwan. We also have our cup for sampling, wastewater jug off to one side. I don't think I'll want to drink all of it unless I want to buzz. Our strainer, which will really only be needed for the Gongfu, because this tea over here is already brewed and strained, and our jug, so that you'll be able to see the colour and I'll be able to smell the tea brewed in both styles. So I think what we will do is we'll go with the Western to start with, and we'll see how that comes out. Give us something to sort of aim towards. So as I say, 4 minutes, 85 degrees centigrade, 1 gram per 100 mil. I don't even really need the strainer for this, but it's good practice. I don't know how well that comes out, but from here it's an incredibly vibrant yellow. Let's see if I can make that stand out better for you. There you go. It's a little more gold on screen than it is in reality, but it's a lovely vibrant colour. And on the smell from the jug, it's very sweet. It's got that sort of Darjeeling herbal quality, at least what you get in first flush, plus a real sweetness to it. No wonder it's called honey. I'm hoping that's not playing with my mind or what my nose is picking up. Off the cup, it's even more sweet, almost with a bit of lemon in it. Very smooth, very sweet, quite complex. It's not just, it's not like drinking sugar water. There's a bit of depth to it. That's really interesting. Fruity, herbal, sweet, with some depth to it. I'm not sure I could tell you what particular fruit, but that's what I'm getting out of it. So let's move on to our Gongfu. We're going to be very careful not to oversteep this because, as I think I mentioned in our Jethy Kupi video, the Darjeelings too tend to get kind of bitter and herbal, almost like you're drinking a bay leaf infusion if they're too concentrated or oversteeped. So we're going to give this, let's say, 15 seconds to start with. See where that gets us, 100 mils. That's 15 seconds. Well, I'm impressed that at 15 seconds there's some colour. What's the smell? Interestingly, the herbal quality is coming out more off the lid after the first infusion, but it's still very sweet. Colour-wise, very pale yellow, but still a nice colour. The smell from the jug, pretty sweet, almost like boiled sweet, hard candy for any American viewers. Much the same off the cup. It's sweet, a little bit of fruit, but fair play, it's only a first infusion, so it's lacking a certain depth. Let's try that for 20 seconds. Give that a shoogle. Right, there's 20. That's more colour. Definitely more colour there. The smell off the lid, more of the fruit's coming through. Sweet and fruity. I don't know. Yes, that colour is exactly the same. Pale yellow, but a nice, quite a rich yellow though. The smell, quite a ripe fruit smell coming off there. It reminds me a little of the Spring Jasper review. That was sort of fruity and sweet. The same is true of all of the Taiwanese oolongs to some degree. That's picked up on richness. It's sweet and it's fruity with some depth to it. I realise now what I'm thinking. This is like a Taiwanese oolong, but without the floral quality. And perhaps some other of the oolongs from Rohini would have that, but this is, it's definitely fresh. And it's fruity, but it doesn't have the floral quality. So it's got kind of 2 out of 3 notes to it. Let's push that. That's 20. That was 20. So this is 25. In fact, let's push it a little further. Right, that's 30. See where that gets us. Already, I would say that's an even more vibrant colour. Really, really ripe fruits. And sweet, unsurprisingly, from that. Yeah, that's what's coming through. A really ripe fruit. And sweetness and freshness. I really can see where the honey name comes from. That's pretty similar. If I hold it there, that's pretty similar to what I am seeing. More vibrant yellow than the last infusion. It does have a slightly drying quality. Some teas do, some teas don't. That's only 2 infusions, but it's already The flavour's not really lingering, but it's drying on the palate. That's definitely a good deep scent. Yeah, that's a good, deep, rich fruit. Plenty of sweetness. Maybe dark fruit, not, sorry, like a honeyed fruit. Not a dark fruit in the sense of a plum. It's definitely something lighter than that. Let's give it one more steeping and see where that gets us. There's definitely none of the, let's call it, savoury quality that you can get from a Darjeeling. This is definitely all about the fruit and the sweetness, which is impressive given it's just all from the same clone, but it shows you what you can do with this very careful oxidation. If you recall, whenever we talk about the green oolongs, we always say that wee bit of oxidation transforms what would otherwise be a green tea into something very different. It takes out the astringency. And this degree of oxidation is really taking out the savoury qualities. Now, I'm not saying First Flush Darjeeling, I'm not saying those savoury qualities are unwelcome, but they're quite characteristic. Almost citrus. Almost a citrus sweetness there. I think that's probably long enough. The leaves are thoroughly unfurled, and we can see some of them almost completely brown. That's how they've oxidized it. Let's give that, I would say, yeah, that's even darker than the last one. Not darker, more intense. Smell off the lid. Oh, losing tea leaves. Again, citrusy. It's, no, in fact, it's more like honey. It's like honey, but with honey water, as if it's losing a bit of complexity. Show you the colour. That is about right. Yellow, but a hint of something else in that touch of orange. I think that's about the right colour. Off the cup. Sweet fruit, a bit of citrus. That's really good. That's a really good one. I'm going to be greedy and take that again. I'd be very careful about brewing that for any longer. It's not oversteeped, but it's on the edge. Any longer or any harder, and you would definitely, you definitely have bitter notes creeping in. So make sure you don't do that. Yeah. It's rich, it's refreshing, it's fruity and it's sweet, bit of honey in there. Everything but floral. It's like a Taiwanese green oolong, but without the floral quality. I'm going to keep that, and once I finish this video, I'm going to drink that, because I really enjoyed that. I enjoy the Western style as well. I reckon you might be able to get another steep out of there. Tell you what we're going to do. We are going to put the temperature, I'm going to make the video a little longer than I'd intended. We're going to bump up the temperature by 5 degrees. Because we're only at 85, so we've got plenty of room to play with. And we might put some of the water directly onto the tea and some of it down the side. I don't want to overcook it. I'm going to enjoy this cupful then. That's really good. So, let's give it 100. We're going to keep that 25 to 30. Yeah, more colours coming out of the leaf. I'm doing that. I'm going to go around. Especially given the leaves are unfurled, they're going to be releasing a lot of flavour very quickly. As I say, any longer and that would have been oversteeping. It is very drying. That's the one thing I'll say. The Taiwanese oolongs aren't drying on the palate, but this definitely is. Yeah, I think a few more seconds. I'm getting some nice bouquet. Oh, there's a posh word already. Couple more seconds. Yeah, call that quits. So this is the temperature up. Not entirely sure how many seconds that was. I was playing that by ear. I don't know how well that translates. Smell from the lid. Darker fruit, something like a very ripe fruit. That's the word I'm looking for. That's what word I'm looking for. That's a really intense yellow. That's pretty good. Yep, I would say that's exactly the same. Ripe fruit. Definitely ripe fruit. With a bit of honey thrown in. I wouldn't say that bumping the temperature up in that way has brought out a completely new flavor profile, but it has, at the very least, in fact, that's a way that you could extend your session if you were wanting to do a few more rounds with the same leaves. Yeah. In summary, it's got the floral quality. So I beg your pardon, it's got the fruity quality and the freshness of a Taiwanese oolong, but it doesn't have the floral quality, and it's definitely more drying. So maybe show you the leaves, and you can see a bit more clearly now that they've unfurled. You can probably see some of the brown in there as well. It's not brown around the edges. It's all oxidized by hand, but it looks more as if some of the leaves are more thoroughly oxidized than others. Perhaps that's the way that it's been done. It's sort of on average how oxidized it is. So, in summary, Darjeeling tea First Flush is available. It's ubiquitous in tea vendors, so that's not a problem. I bought this directly from the Gopal Dara Tea Estate because they have an excellent website. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. You can find Rohini and Gopal Dara as well as a myriad of other First Flush Darjeelings elsewhere, including some oolongs. Would I recommend this particular one? Yes, if you want something that really focuses on sweetness and a bit of honey and freshness, I would go with this. If you don't like a floral flavor profile, but you fancy green oolong, maybe give this one a try as well. Is it easy to prepare? The Western style, of course. Very, very simple. This one took a little bit of playing by ear to get it just right, but practice makes perfect with these things. I wouldn't have said it was complicated. They're easy to get hold of. I enjoyed the flavor profile. If I was in the mood for really focusing on sweetness, I might go with this as opposed to a Taiwanese green oolong. It's easy to prepare and it's widely available. So once again, it's 3 out of 3. All it remains for me to do is to say happy steeping and God bless.